We lost trust. Trust has been completely broken between people and their representatives. The root of the problem is in this power sharing system that divides power across sectarian groups, and that essentializes sectarian identities. So each position in administration is no more based on merit, but on your sectarian allegiance. If you are a Shiite person, then you go to the Shiite patron and you make sure that this Shiite patron appoints you in that place. And if you don't want to play that sectarian game, you're outside of that sectarian game. We can see it today in the levels of poverty that are exceeding 50%. And even the middle class it has produced has now gone pauperized. So it's really benefiting a small group of 1%, while the 99% are suffering from it. Absolutely, we need to change that system to be able to be hopeful. And this is what we're pushing for. It's that radical change. This explosion comes in the aftermath of a huge financial and banking and monetary and economic collapse. I don't think many countries have witnessed so many crises at the same time. In the backdrop of a pandemic that is also being used by our government in ways to repress and oppress people. So the political class currently is being questioned because the explosion is very much a materialization of its negligence, of its corruption, and they have been exposed because the explosion is a demonstration of their inability to protect people, given the fact that they disposed of 2,750 tons of nitrate ammonium in a port. We want to try to change that political system structurally for good. We've reached a point of no return, and I would say that explosion made a lot of people realize they don't have anything else to lose anymore. They lost almost everything. They lost their money in their banks. Many lost their houses, their businesses, their livelihoods. These political parties cannot lead us to political change. We've been trying them for 3 decades, and they've had all their chances to prove what they're worth. And the explosion comes to validate that. This opportunity has very slim chances of happening because the system is very, very strong and very rooted in state institutions and banking institutions. And among these rulers themselves, have every interest to protect themselves and not to change. We worry about foreign powers coming so-called to help us do this change and feed this political class with aid and money that will renew their stamina and allow them to stay on rather than produce a systemic change, which is what we're asking for. And what's the priority when you have 5 catastrophic problems to address simultaneously? It's hard to answer. I think Lebanese long for a state. We really, we long for a state that would take up its responsibility of protecting the public and public assets and the public interest of its people. So the Lebanese have mobilized into NGOs and civil society organizations and community groups to try to protect themselves.